Alarming statistics about black women dying in childbirth are prompting one American governor to take action. Now, a report in the New York Times says black women are 4 times more likely to die during childbirth in New York State than white women. In New York City, the maternal mortality rate among black women is even higher. They're 12 times more likely to die than other women. So, Governor Andrew Cuomo is turning to an old concept. He announced a program to expand Medicaid coverage to doulas, which are birth coaches. They provide physical and emotional support to women during pregnancy and delivery. Only 2 other states support doulas through Medicaid payments, Oregon and Minnesota. I want to introduce you to my next guest. She is the founder and executive director of Ancient Song Doula Services. Chanel Porchia-Albert, welcome to the show. So I see you have a little one over here.
Yes.
How old is he now?
He is 6 months, and this is Caleb.
Yeah, 6 months. Caleb, how many children do you have?
I have 6.
6 children?
Yes.
That's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
Were the deliveries smooth for you?
Pretty much. I will say that I do have identical twin daughters who I developed preeclampsia with.
What is that?
Preeclampsia is a condition due to hypertension where your blood pressure gets elevated, and it can cause complications, life-threatening complications with the placenta that can affect the newborn as well as the mother, so potentially causing death for both. Right.
Now, do you believe that race played a factor in any of the treatment that you got as you were giving birth to your children?
I don't think that race played a factor per se in my own birthing experiences because of the fact that I was able to make an informed decision about my care. And I say that because I went from a place of having private insurance to then having government subsidized insurance, Medicaid, right? And so I knew how to advocate for myself. I knew what advocacy looked like in the birth room. I read about things. And I also made a choice not to necessarily have my deliveries in the hospital setting. I had my births at home.
All of them, all 6?
Except for the twins.
Except for the twins.
So the twins I had an emergency cesarean for, but I did have a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean at home, which most OBGYNs don't recommend because there is a 1% chance of uterine rupture. But I knew what the risks were associated with my body. I knew my body. I knew my surgical records. And so the midwife was was willing to do that, and we did.
So you had a doula yourself? I did,
and it was a wonderful experience.
And now you run a program for other doulas where you actually supply doulas to other people?
Yes, so based on my own birthing experience, I had a black female OBGYN for my initial care, but the care was just very sterile. There was no communication between us, and I really wanted and needed something more. I found a midwife of color as well as a doula who offered me that care that I needed. Our visits, instead of being 15 minutes and me leaving out of there not knowing what happened, were something where it was an hour long to 30 minutes long. And she really guided me through the process of what to expect, and I was never pressured into doing anything that I didn't necessarily want to.
So that word, some people don't quite understand it. You used midwife earlier, but if you could explain what a doula is. A
doula is someone who offers emotional and physical support.
Emotional is key because midwives don't do that, right?
No, they don't. Well, some of them do. Some of them do, right? And there's a difference between home birth midwives and hospital-based midwifery of care, because hospital-based midwives are, they have certain restrictions that they have to follow based on the institutional protocols. But yeah, so a doula offers emotional and physical support. So offering that continuity of care where the OB or the certified nurse midwife, it can't do that, right? So we're there with them. We're doing house visits. We're attending prenatal appointments with them. We're offering them evidence-based information. So again, they can make an informed decision about their care. So when it comes to serving black women in America, it's really about us being informed, but then also bringing a human rights framework into the birth room.
Human rights framework?
Yes, yes.
So when we look at the challenges that black women face in particular, how are doulas uniquely equipped to bridge this gap that exists?
Yeah, I will definitely say that there's a difference, and so I want to make sure that I'm clear about that. So traditionally, doulas will do like maybe 2 prenatal appointments. They will attend.
They'll go with you.
Right. Okay. Or they'll see you separately, right? They'll attend your birth, and they may do a follow-up visit. What we're offering, for instance, instance, at my organization and community-based organizations like myself at Ancient Song Doula Services is full spectrum community-based doulas, which means that we're realizing that there are certain things that are happening to women of color, Black women in particular, that are affecting the way in which we deliver our babies.
Speak specifically, what are those things?
Stress, racism, implicit bias, things that people, our white counterparts don't necessarily have to think about. I have a Black male son who is sitting on my chest right now, and I have to think about, well, what's going to happen to him when he gets older, right? And these are things that I'm thinking about in utero while he's inside of me. Stresses that our counterparts don't have to think about. Like, we can look at Trayvon Martin, we can look at Michael Brown, we can look at Erica Garner. Erica Garner, she just lost her life 3 months postpartum, to heart failure, right? And that could be attributed to stress.
Okay, just put it in perspective. Can you remind us who Erica Garner is?
Erica Garner is
Make sure you give him his thing. Make sure. He's like, wait a minute.
Erica Garner is the daughter of Eric Garner, and Eric Garner was killed while in police custody, and she was kind of thrust into this political spotlight that she didn't necessarily want, but was kind of put upon her. So think about that, the stress of having to think about and become an advocate for not just for yourself, right, but for thousands of people, Black people, right, in America, who are saying police brutality is wrong and it needs to change, while being pregnant, right, while trying to carry a baby to term, thinking about maybe the other social things that are going on in her life, finances, education, transportation, all those other things that could be going on, all of that becomes compounded, right? And so now she's 3 months postpartum. We don't know whether she had the necessary social supports for after pregnancy or any of those things. And those are some of the things that community-based doulas and community-based doula programs will offer. So
the governor's saying that he wants Medicaid to cover this. Is it expensive? Do you think that money is the only issue, or are there other barriers?
I don't think that that's the only barrier. I will say that the average doula in New York City charges anywhere between $1,200 to $5,000 for services, and so it could be, doulas are seen as a luxury item. What I'm saying is that every woman deserves to have a doula, no matter what, right? Regardless of your socioeconomic status, regardless of whether you're undocumented or not, you deserve to be treated in a way that is fair and is equitable, right? And so that's why we're saying that human rights framework needs to be brought into the birthing room.
Thank you so much. The human rights framework needs to be brought into the birthing room. Chanel Porchia-Albert, Executive Director of Ancient Song Doula Services. Thank you very much. Now, thank you so much for watching Arise America. In New York, I'm Duarte Geraldino. We'll see you tomorrow. He is just such a well-behaved baby. Yes. He just knows he's...